Home prices are falling, demand is way down, bidding wars have tanked, days on market are up, the number of homes sold is down, the supply of homes is down, which I didn't expect, the number of homes with price drops is up 21%, the Fed rate is up, inflation is still high, and don't be surprised if the R word makes its way to the headlines soon.
Recession.
I hate to be doom and gloom, but to be honest, it's really pretty gloomy out there. Ian Shepherdson, the chief economist at Pantheon Microeconomics, he said this week prices are already down 5% from the May peak, and he projects a third monthly decline in seasonally adjusted existing home sales. He also said the plunging trend in sales has further to go and prices will be falling. I opened this video with Redfin data that pretty clearly backs up his dark predictions. High inflation and high borrowing costs have proven to be lethal for the housing market. Only the hardiest and best prepared buyers are still actively seeking a home purchase. Many experts, including Shepherdson, agree the housing market is now experiencing a housing recession. Lawrence Yun, the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, said recently, "We are witnessing a housing recession in terms of declining home sales and new home builds." As a professional, to hear him talk about housing recession makes me sit up and take notice. I mean, he's the man. But for buyers and sellers, a recession hits differently. Demand is drying up, like I said earlier, but prices remain high because supply is so limited. For sellers, with selling prices dropping and higher interest rates climbing, it's no wonder at all why they're having second thoughts about selling unless they absolutely must. For buyers, the continuing rise in rates are forcing them to back out of new home builds, bringing new home sales to the lowest level in 2 years. Now builders are increasingly reluctant to build new homes. That keeps inventory low and prices high. Home builder sentiment is basically a survey that takes the pulse of the home building industry. In August, this measurement, the home builder sentiment, dropped to the lowest level since the start of the pandemic. It's also the 8th consecutive drop in as many months, marking the worst stretch since 2008. That's a point in time that needs no introduction. 1 year ago, builder sentiment stood at 80. In November of 2020, it was at a 35-year high of 90. Now it stands at 49. In my opinion, builders are highly educated people with a very low opinion of where the market is heading. In July, 63,000 new home purchase agreements, they were called off. That's equal to 16% of the homes that went under contract that month. According to Redfin, that's the highest rate in 2 years. Buyers are moving from skittish to skeptical about the housing market because of recession fears, higher rates, and home price drops that seem to be accelerating. When buyers pull away from the market, sellers are pushed to reduce prices even more. Goldman Sachs economists say the market has further to fall and the home price growth will slow sharply in the next couple of quarters. These are precisely the messages that will cause an increase in people to wait and watch the housing market. In an ongoing effort to fight inflation, the Feds continue to push rates higher. The Fed funds rate does not affect the mortgage rate directly. It does, however, affect how much banks have to pay one another for excess reserves for overnight loans. In short, if banks have to pay more, we end up paying more. That is a massively oversimplified explanation. Investopedia has some excellent articles on this. The unfortunate, uncomfortable side effect of cooling down an economy to stifle inflation is, as we've said, higher interest rates on everything, slower growth overall, including, of course, housing and a softer labor market. The goal is to have fewer dollars in search of goods and services, to lessen upward pressure on prices. As far as addressing the recession, I've heard it said we can be subjected to some pain now or far greater pain later. I don't like either option. Thanks. So here's the punchline for a housing recession. Spending on housing accounts for about 18% of the nation's GDP, gross domestic product, and it's the broadest measure of goods and services produced in the nation. Think new homes and any work done on an existing one. If overall spending on or in housing is dialed back because money's just too expensive, the GDP goes down and inflationary pressure, that goes down too. Unlike the 2008 housing crash that spawned a wider crisis, the current recession is unlikely to do as much damage. Shepherdson says the very low level of inventory means a total collapse isn't in the cards, but we still expect a total decline of up to 20% by the middle of next year. At some point when prices drop low enough, buyers won't be able to resist buying again. That's what's going to keep us out of the 2008 repeat. As further evidence of housing market in decline, the National Association of Realtors reported this week that the median high home value of $413,000 recorded in June has dropped to $389,500. That is quite a change. Tell you what, I'll keep an eye on things for you. If you like this video, please share it with friends to help me spread the word. Consider subscribing so you know when the next videos drop. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you and your time. Talk to you soon.